Hello, Rabbi Naaman, and welcome back to the Schmooze. I'm Daniel Rabbi. That's Rabbi Akiva Naaman. We're so good to be here with you as we discuss innovations, ideas, and new opportunities happening in our community. Rabbi Akiva, it's as always a pleasure to see you.
It is, as always, a pleasure to see me as well. And that is what I love about Zoom and videos is you get to look at yourself all day long. I'm just kidding. It's good to see you too. No problem. Okay, here we go. Schmooze number 5.
Number five. Big. I feel like 5's a milestone, but
it is. And I feel like we should have a party celebrating by having another schmooze. I'm actually really excited to just you and me today just schmooze. We haven't done that.
Right, we haven't done that. That's true.
So that's really, really exciting. And I don't know if you heard, there is a website called Netflix.
I have heard of it. About that one.
It's a small website I started a few years back, and since then it's gotten bigger. And I sold it in the beginning of the company for like $25.
That sounds right.
I bought a lottery ticket with it, but it's obviously everyone in COVID-19 times. If you don't have Netflix by now, I'm not sure what you've been doing with all your free time. Maybe working out or learning new skills. Yeah, no, right. So I don't know any of those people, but if you have been doing that, good on you.
We'd love to meet you.
I've just been watching The Office. That's been what's happening on Netflix.
I feel like The Office is the main reason why people have Netflix. I
feel like actually Netflix was created around The Office, and then everything just someone else was like, "Hey, we want our show on there too." There is a website now, Jewish Netflix. Get excited. That's at least how it's been marketed. It's not called JewishNetflix.com. That would have been really cool. I'm going to share my screen so y'all can see a little bit what it's like. Here we go. Share screen. Can you guys see my screen? I think you can.
No. We're really good at this part. This is where we excel.
This is where we excel. Are you seeing my screen now?
I am seeing your screen. Okay, so JewishInReach.com.
JewishInReach.com is a brand new website, which is, I think, just the layout of it is modeled like it is in Netflix. Netflix, as you can see over here, just different topics. But I love how they uploaded this stuff, and I'm hoping that they're going to put more videos up soon, maybe even more like kid-friendly videos. But this is just incredible stuff. I mean, I didn't actually notice this before. Do you see this? Judaism and martial arts.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, I like how they break it down into sections. Connect with Hashem, Torah and science.
Exactly. Relationships.
Right. Like Netflix, they have their own content as well. This is some exciting stuff. I also like how it's called In Reach.
Yes. And this is actually, I didn't even know he was on here. This is actually one of my best friends, actually. Dovber Cohen and I go way back. He has traveled Asia for 6 years, wound up in Jerusalem, became a rabbi, a beautiful, fascinating story. You can buy his book, Mastering Life. And I did not know he was on here. Look at this. Anyways, check it out. JewishInReach.com. Jewish Netflix for the Jewish soul.
Is that their tagline, or you just made that up?
I don't know. They're not even sponsoring this episode. I just thought it was really cool.
Okay. Wow. That was a great advertisement. Really well done. If you're interested in sponsoring an episode of The Schmooze, you can reach out to Rabbi Akiva or myself, or email us at info@schmoozewithus.com, because we're always looking to schmooze with so many partners like you. And on that note, Rabbi Akiva, we also have multiple channels that you can schmooze with us on, right?
I had no idea.
You typically stay out of the detail stuff, but you can absolutely follow us on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. All available, the Schmooze with us, and we will absolutely love to have you as one of our subscribers, followers, and follow us on Instagram as well, the Schmooze IG, all available for you. So, Rabbi, what are we talking about today? Because I think we should kind of play off of this, innovation, like Jewish Netflix.
That's what we hear about.
I'm gonna kind of just take over right now. There's something really on my mind. A report came out yesterday, or was widely reported yesterday, an FBI report. So we like to view this as reliable data. That an FBI report talking about hate crimes in America, talking about motivated crimes against religious groups or ethnic groups, and obviously, data on this is for 2019. Data in general isn't good. We've seen a lot of concerning things happening in the news over the past year. But for our community in particular, of all hate crimes motivated by hatred of a religious group, 60.2% were targeted at Jews. And
how many?
60.2%. So we're talking about a significant majority of hate crimes are targeted against Jews.
Wow.
And it's even more concerning, when data can kind of be skewed in a lot of directions. But on this matter, Jews only make up 1.7% of the U.S. population.
Wow. This is 60% of hate crimes in America.
In America. It's an FBI report.
1.7% are Jewish, and yet 60% of the hate crimes are against us.
Right. So, the feeling's mutual.
No, really.
There's a lot of hatred going on. But
I hate the haters. What can I say?
You're well known for that. But I'm trying to wrap my head around this, and something you and I are like, I know we discuss offline when we're not live on the Schmooze. We talk about this phenomenon of Jews feel so targeted on college campus in their community. We've seen it with countless attacks against our community. Like, we're not talking about rhetoric and billboards and people protesting. We're talking about people who thought the best thing they can do is to actively, physically attack community members. It was really enlightening for us to see, especially during the Poway shooting, which happened about 2 years ago over Passover in California. The shooter's manifesto, like his paper as to why he's doing what he's doing. And you're talking about a kid who grew up in modern day America, but like was not sheltered, had education. He wrote that the best thing he thought he could be doing is attacking Jews. And I'm kind of like bewildered at this statistic.
You should be on Netflix more. Stop being so productive with your time and thinking about what you can be doing outside of the house. Go on Netflix. Don't kill people.
You're terrible. We moved on from Netflix. We're past that.
No, it just bothers me. Like, how is this person's thought? Like, the best thing I can do with my day right now is go attack a Jew. And I know I'm cutting you off. I'll get back to you in a second. But I had a student who was unfortunately killed in a terrorist attack in Israel. Actually, November 19th, 2015, in 2 more days, it's going to be his 5th yahrzeit. And the terrorist in the court proceedings, which only happened a year and a half later, said that he waited for months to do the terror attack for his birthday. He was waiting. This was his birthday present to himself. Like, what?
Right.
Why?
It's a great question, by the way. I mean, I think especially in that particular area, because I think you and I know what you're talking about. When we talk about terrorist attacks in Israel, there's a glorification behind terror. I don't think any mainstream politician in America or community leader is actively encouraging their constituents to go attack others. So a little bit different, but this is, a challenge that we're seeing. And it used to be what our community used to say, like, it's happening in Europe. We don't need to worry about this. This isn't our issue. And now it's happening. We see it happening in our communities. I was speaking a couple years ago when, this mentality that we really need to protect ourselves with armed guards really took over the community. I was speaking with someone from France in our community in South Florida, and he said, it's so sad what's happening in Europe right now, in France and Belgium. You can't go into shul without walking past, multiple military and police personnel, to ensure the community's safety. And I said, like, I don't know, I walk past 4 armed guards to get into our shul. So I don't know why it's so different. You're America hired help, but I'm constantly overwhelmed. Seldom do I see good reports coming from the FBI that anti-Semitism is going down.
Right.
I'm waiting. Like, I read the news every day. Like, one day I'm gonna get good news. So that's I think really what I think we should do a deep dive in today.
Well, I want to actually, on that note, and speaking about innovation to problems that are happening in America today, which is what our podcast is about, innovation and issues in Jewish communities throughout America and the world today. I'm on social media as an educator. I have to be, otherwise. Yeah. Well, anyways, Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. The point is, I'm always looking up, just scrolling, looking for different Jewish things that are happening more on Instagram than on Facebook. And this must be a new account. It caught my eye. Not what I'm about to say, but I don't know if you're familiar with the account Jewish on Campus. It's
Of course.
It's called that anti-Semitism on college campus. Someone must have made an account for high school campuses as well. It must be new, but I just thought it was amazing, and it really reminded me of what Masha was saying. Just like in our third episode, we interviewed Masha Merkulova from Club Z. We got to stop being apologetic about being Jewish, and we got to stop hiding the fact that we're Jewish. For those that do, and maybe it's very difficult for them, check out this Instagram page. I'm going to share my screen once again.
Right. I think it's clearly not working. Like, our trying to hide who we are, it's not.
It's not working. It's backtracking. It's working against us. It's the opposite of working.
Counterintuitive.
But check us out. Jewish in high school. If you're a teen, I haven't clicked on the link yet, but this is just people who are sending in their anti-Semitism stories that are happening to them in high school. Look at this. Someone threw pennies at the ground and said, "Pick it up, Jew." Like.
Yeah, it's
it's happening. These are things that if you're a high schooler watching this, send in your stories. Just anonymous. It seems like it's anonymous because everyone's writing anonymous. So
right, but
enough with staying silent.
I remember when I was there are two things really. I remember when there was a time I used to get on planes and talk to students, primarily in high school, about what it means. You're going to go onto campus. You want to be a voice for the Jewish community, for the pro-Israel community, and now, because there's been, such an overwhelming response, especially on social media, my lines, like, everybody any of these speakers who go around speaking, like they have their back pocket speech that they give. So I had to change it.
I'm one of those.
Yeah. I was always saying, like, when you get onto college campus, you're going to face these issues. And then once they started speaking to more groups, they said, we're facing them now.
Right.
Like in high school. I have swastikas drawn in my textbooks on my locker. Like, kids know where I sit and they vandalize my desk.
Someone carved a giant swastika in a local baseball field in a local high school.
It's unbelievable. There are no words to understand how this is so degrading. But I think, and also going into what Noam was saying just last week, we need to bring the education to them.
From Open Door Media.
No, Dr. Noam Weissman, indeed, from the senior vice president of Open Door Media. Generous sponsor of last week's Schmooze. But for him, I think one of the points that really resonated me on last week's Schmooze was saying we need to bring content to them. We can't start fighting and creating, thinking our model works instead like the old-fashioned form of education. We need to create content for them. Like this Instagram account is a perfect example of a way that students can voice their experiences and that they can feel comfortable doing so.
I'll tell you. So speaking of, again, meeting the needs of the people and everyone watching the Schmooze, and by the way, thank you to all of our viewers. We've been getting some great feedback from you guys, and we're so happy that you're watching and enjoying. And feel free to send in, questions, comments, thoughts, or recipes that you might want to have highlighted on the show. We might not do the recipes. So, but
the Schmooze cooking.
Schmooze cooking. Check out our spin-off branch. Not happening. There's been such a rise in anti-Semitism, and it's happening now. And I think it's very hard for people and viewers, again, tell us, but like, it's hard to get around it. And I remember when there was the shooting in Pittsburgh, and it shocked everyone. And it didn't shock me. Maybe because I think because I grew up in Israel, like,
right,
part of life, like, unfortunately, really sad, really horrible, but like, I was deeply saddened and grieved, but it wasn't like, whoa, where did this come from? And I think more and more Americans are waking up, and if they're not, they need to wake up. This is happening now. This is currently happening in America with a 60% rise in anti-Semitism, what you had mentioned earlier with the hate crimes, and 67% our anti-Semitic. And 67, I mean, we could just go into statistics all day. I just read some recent statistics here in Northern California about anti-Semitism. But it's happening now. I want to throw this back to you, Daniel, because I'm wondering if you know anyone maybe running like a summer program to Israel that focuses on high school students learning how to combat anti-Semitism, because it's happening now. It's not going to we'll prepare for this in 5 years. Do you know anyone?
Yeah. It's like crazy because I've taken a real interest in this type of thing recently. So I really want to get involved. What Rabbi Akiva is so subtly hinting to, God willing this year, COVID permitting, and once the skies open up, we're planning to bring students on a leadership training program specified on Jewish and Israel advocacy. So
I had no idea.
I know we should schmooze about this. Like right now. So we have this opportunity for years. We along with NCSY and some schools and partner organizations, we've been going to the annual APAC Policy Conference, where students get to see firsthand the leaders of the Jewish community, of the pro-Israel community, coming together all in one place, about 20,000 strong in Washington, D.C., to advocate for Israel, to advocate for the one Jewish state. And the reason why I got into this because of my teacher, Rabbi Pilachowski, but the ability for students to be in the room and see for themselves and meet with the leaders who are changing the game. These are people who are making the decisions. Everyone from American legislatures and the United States Congress and Senate, and the president's administration. You have members of Knesset who come in from Israel. The people who work with the prime minister, with the ambassador. Really anyone and everyone who has a say is at this convention. And we said, unfortunately, APAC Policy Conference was canceled this year. So we said, what if we create an experience where we bring students to Israel? Let them go see the hot topics.
High schoolers.
High schoolers, 100%. Everyone. I'm a firm believer that once they're on university, it's like almost too late. For sure we should offer programs, but now's the time because they're going to get into college. They're going to start worrying about their resume, their grades, their GPA, where they're going for graduate school, getting into Greek life and hopefully Jewish life as well. Hillel and Chabad. There's so many things pulling them in many directions. Not to mention a robust social life, hopefully. So being that advocate, learning takes time, it takes effort, it takes interest. And sometimes if it's not number one priority or number two or number three priority, it kind of gets shuffled to the bottom of the list. So now they're in high school. Many of our students can't drive. They're not running around. They're not traveling. They don't have an overwhelming course load. Their one focus is going to university. Okay, fine. So that's a little bit different than the 12 other things that they need to worry about when they're on college campus.
Right.
So now's our opportunity, launching this program for high school students, 9th through 12th grade, bringing them to some places that most people don't even know about. And meeting from people from all sides of different opinions. It's an NCSY summer program through Jewish Student Union, our public school program as well. And we don't push opinions. Obviously we're pro-Israel, we're pro the Jewish community, but
right.
we don't want them to. We're not trying to indoctrinate, so to speak, as so many of our enemies do. We want to give them an educational and immersive experience while having an amazing time and an unforgettable experience in the Holy Land.
And again, I want to quote Dr. Noam from last week, a nuanced experience. He was stressing about the fact that our approach to Israel and life in general has to be nuanced. It can't be black and white. Once you get to black and white, you get to extremes. And it's funny because I feel like we can almost contrast that with what Masha was saying the week beforehand, where we do have to be extremely Jewish and out there and pro. Yeah. It's and there's benefits to both sides. You can't be so nuanced that you're, let's say, that you're pariv. They're like, well, Israel's good, but is it really good? And there's nuance. You have to be, unapologetic about who you are, but also educated enough to be able to see the nuance with it.
Right. And there's an art to nuance also.
Sure.
People think there are certain members in our pro-Israel community who they're so staunchly pro-Israel, but they feel that because they're so staunchly pro-Israel, they might not be taken seriously because they're not seeing the whole picture. So on occasion, they'll throw out a little bit of an anti-Israel statement or approach and that nuance.
Right.
No, I'm sorry, that's not what nuance is.
Let me ask you. I'll tell you what nuance is. Let me tell you. I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you call two sisters in England that just had a nephew?
What do you call two sisters in England who just had a nephew?
New aunts.
New aunts. Oh my god.
No, new aunt. Nuance.
Okay, fine, because they're English. Okay. It's a pun. It's good.
We just came up with it.
No, I think it's good. It's appropriate. I think whatever, it fits the conversation. One more.
I'm gonna schmooze with someone else from now on.
What? Okay, I schmooze. I'm not a joke guy. I'm not the fun guy.
If you can't laugh at these puns, then I don't know if this is gonna work.
It's not even a pun.
Awkward to break a pun on the air.
What do you think a pun is?
Pun is the highest caliber of humor out there. The Rambam, Maimonides, says that of the 8 levels of humor, puns are the highest level. Actual fact.
Yeah, where's that?
It's in the Rambam. Look it up.
I'm
not going to waste time with giving exact sources, Daniel.
Yeah, right. We would hate to do that. Give reliable sources here. Rabbi Akiva, that reminds me, a little bit of a different take on summer programs and opportunities. I heard that there's another program in the works.
I had no idea.
No, maybe like the other half of this conversation might know a little bit more about that.
What Daniel may be referring to is the 2 sisters in England who just had a nephew. Nuance. No, that's not what he's referring to. I too have innovated with the times. I'll share 2 things that I've been working on. One is a what's called TJJ Action, and it's a summer program to Israel. We're taking a busload of teens, and it is also traveling all over Israel, learning about the culture and connecting to our heritage, and obviously riding camels and rappelling and going snorkeling in Eilat and all the good things in Israel, with a focus on on social action, what I'm calling social action entrepreneurship. Becoming a social action entrepreneur. What does that mean? And the 5 levels of becoming a social action entrepreneur.
What does that mean?
Well, you know what? If you want to find out, come on the summer program. Not you.
I'm actually running my own, but
what it means is, the way I'm describing it is really the difference between, and this goes back to what I just been saying, between fluff and between actually doing something. Okay, so social action can sometimes be just conversation, posting comments online or blogging about it, which is good, which is a step. But I'm talking, and what we're training the leaders coming on this trip to be is seeing an issue, envisioning a solution to the issue, and then going ahead and actually doing it and actually acting in it. And that's the action part of social action, which I'm really, really excited about. And then so that's just happening this summer. Anyone who's interested is more than welcome to come. We only have a few spots left, so let us know pretty soon. And quick thank you to Bernie Marcus over at Home Depot, who is
Home Depot.
Home Depot. Everyone shop at Home Depot if you'd like to. But the point is,
a mom and pop shop.
Little mom and pop shop started in Atlanta. But the point is, they are subsidizing both mine and Daniel's and lots of other NCSY and JSU summer programs by many, many thousands of dollars for any teens who want to apply. Thank you for your generosity. Maybe Bernie Marcus. We should have him on the show.
That's a great call.
Write that down. We should definitely have him on the show. We are going to have him on the show. Come back here within the next few months. We'll be having him on the show. It'll be great. And the other thing that I've been working on really is, and then I just wanted to share a thought that I saw on Facebook yesterday, or maybe it was today, about how tzedakah. I always talk about the concept, the connection between tzedakah, meaning charity, and justice. Tzedek is the root of tzedakah, and someone was connecting it to social justice, and I was like, oh, that's a very interesting connection, really, because I'd always talked about it, but I never put it really in that term. But really, just again, the trip is focused on tzedakah, on not just handouts, but hand-ups, and making the world a better place together. And then the second thing I've been working on is an app, which many of you have already heard of, that I've been creating along with the team over at NCSY. It's called Shalom Trivia. We created it. We started the whole venture really back in March when COVID hit. And it's been going fantastic. We're doing a relaunch, God willing, this Thursday after its first successful launch a while back, and we're really excited about it. Check it out in the App Store. Relaunching this Thursday. Shalom Trivia. We ask Jewish trivia questions every day, Israel trivia questions every day, and you get to win actual Amazon gift cards, Starbucks gift cards, scholarships to summer programs in Israel, shawarma for a week, real prizes.
Whoa, shawarma for a week?
Shawarma for a week.
Seems a little bit excessive.
No such thing as too much shawarma. The Rambam says that of the 8 levels of eating, shawarma is the highest level of eating.
Is that your go-to? Like because
it is now. No, just it is. I'm well versed in Maimonides. Back to you, Dave.
I'm curious. When we talk about innovation, we talk about goals and problem solving. What is the goal of Shalom Trivia, or what problem does it solve? What does it come to contribute to the community? That's
a great question. It certainly started off by a way of reaching people. Like everything kind of just stopped, in March. And I was like, okay, Zoom really wasn't a thing yet. So teens were not coming on Zoom. And I was like, we need something different. No, really, the idea came to me in 2013 when I was brainstorming with some teens then. I was like, we need to have an app that is the all Jewish teen app. If you're a Jewish teen and you don't have this app, you're crazy. That's what we need. That's my real vision, where your all local events of all youth groups are in the app. You can gain points through the app through prizes. You can engage with Jewish trivia or Jewish text or Jewish learning through the prizes. But it's very teen oriented. It's not just a bunch of scripture. That's really still my goal. And when COVID hit, I was like, this is it. We're starting at least a part of it. And I'm a big fan of incentivized learning, a big fan of gamification. And that really all met up in this app of reaching teens with real Jewish content. So there's easy trivia every day. There's bonus questions every day, and prizes, and now a tie-in, to going on summer programs as well. But it's really just about solving the problem of reaching teens with Jewish education. Yeah.
Really incredible. It's to think also 2013, 7 years later, that your idea is very much coming to fruition and hopefully reaching thousands, God willing.
That is the plan. We have reached already over 1,000, so it's exciting.
Wow, that really is. Congratulations, Mazel Tov. It's exciting stuff, and always exciting to see what the schmoozers are up to.
I think so. We're biased, but I fully agree with you.
I mean, yeah. It's funny. I spoke to a group in Israel actually yesterday, and we were just kind of like what everybody wants to talk about, peace or the conflict.
Well, maybe we should talk about peace more than the conflict, but I'm with you. That's
different ways of looking at it.
We've got I just realized we have 3 minutes left.
Well, what a time it's been schmoozing with you, Rabbi.
No, but finish your story. Finish your story.
Go for it. I do start off saying I'm biased, but it's okay to be biased. Very well, Elie Wiesel told us you need to take sides. If you don't take sides, it only helps the oppressor, not the oppressed. So I think we can definitely be biased in this state as long as it's we're talking about ideas that help our community. Right. And I think we saw that with Rabbi Katz on our first episode. We saw that with Masha Markulova of Club Z. We saw that with Dr. Noam Weissman of Open Door. And I think we see that with what we do in NCSY and the greater community also. I get the question a lot, do you exclusively work with NCSY? Have students will travel, it doesn't matter. If there's a listening ear, I'll speak anywhere and we'll work with anyone because it's important to support every faction of our community.
We'll post that quote from Elie Wiesel because it's such a powerful quote. Let's wrap up the schmooze this week with, if you remember, the question was from last week. You're driving. It's right before Shabbat. Shabbat's going to come in about 2 minutes. What do you do? And so we'll post a link from the Star K. Actually wrote a very detailed article about what you should do. It's not so simple. In short, you really shouldn't get to that place. There should be no reason that you got there. You should be noticing, okay, it's 1 p.m., it's Friday, traffic is building up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you shouldn't be driving.
Classic Jewish answer. What do you do if your flight's delayed to Arab Top? Don't take an Arab Top flight. That's the answer. You should never be in that position. What is wrong with you? But in case you are.
So you should really try to check in a hotel, et cetera, if you see it's going to happen before you grab some food, grab some fruit, grab something from Safeway. But if it is dangerous outside, then you really should just continue on to somewhere safe. So if you're on if there's a highway with no shoulder, or if it's minus 25 degrees outside, then that should not be the approach. But again, it's complicated, and really, you just shouldn't get to that place in the first place. The question for next week is a bit of a different one. Do you think that the world has mainly bad stuff happening with some good, or is the world mainly good stuff happening with some bad? I asked this question to a group of teens yesterday, got some interesting results. And I think that, with our media nowadays, I think that might be an interesting question to ask our viewers. Is the world mainly bad with some good, or mainly good with some bad?
Does that question have halachic ramifications?
Zero. This is a philosophical conversation.
Great.
It's been great schmoozing with you.
Great schmoozing with you, Rabbi Akiva, and our Schmooze With Us audience. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you all and schmoozing next week.
Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. See you next week.